following is a CUNY TV special presentation.
Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Steven Rubenstein, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the first ABNY breakfast of 2018, featuring our newly elected New York City Council Speaker, Cory Johnson. Or, I should say, looking around this room, welcome to Cory and my bar mitzvah. In fact, some people in this room really were at my bar mitzvah 35 years ago. But today, it is my honor to be here as the newly elected chair of ABNY. Thank you. This is an honor that I never expected. ABNY has had two chairs in its storied history, two great New Yorkers, two Rudins, the late Lew Rudin and his son Bill. Like his father, Bill is the real deal. He loves this city, and we love him. He is hardworking, he is relentless, and he is above all honorable. He is always there when New York needs him. Bill led ABNY for the past 17 years. And Bill, as you now move on to lead REBNY, we know you'll continue to do great things for New York, that you'll always be a pillar of this organization, and that hopefully one day you'll return to this role. Thank you, Bill. As for me, my day job is running Rubenstein, a strategic communications firm founded by my father, Howard. My father was also one of the founders of ABNY, and I couldn't be more proud to have him as my dad, to have him here today, and especially happy to have him here because he's turning 86 years old later this week. So happy birthday, Dad. Now, as a PR guy, I'm used to standing on the side while somebody else usually stands on the stage. But when Bill approached me about this role, I jumped at the opportunity to do my part in this incredibly complicated and unusual time for New York. Remember, ABNY's legacy is that it was born during a time of crisis, to bring our city together to respond as a unified community. Our challenges today are different, but they are real. The global and national trend is toward division, division of class, division of background, division of political ideology. Our New York way, an open-minded celebration of our differences, is being challenged. But this is precisely the time for us all to double down on what it means to be New Yorkers. For ABNY, this means using our platform to focus attention, to bring people together, to inspire action, and to fight for our great city together. I intend to work hard at this job. Please find me. Find me by email, snail mail, WhatsApp. I want to hear from you. Please let me know your thoughts on what you think we can do. I'm grateful to the ABNY board. I'm grateful to the Rudin family for giving me this role. Thank you. Our speaker today is someone who has an enormous responsibility charting the civic and political life in our city. I'll introduce him in just one moment. But first, I want to recognize some other important people in this room. It is our tradition at ABNY to welcome heroes who've risked themselves to help New Yorkers. Today, we honor two profiles in courage, first responders who answered the call of a great threat and a great tragedy. First, on December 11th, a man in a crowded subway passage detonated a pipe bomb strapped to his chest. While people ran for cover, brave Port Authority police ran straight into harm's way. Without concern for their own safety, they took down the suspect at gunpoint. NYPD and EMTs heroically helped restore safety to the area. Then, on December 28th, a deadly residential fire that we all read about in the Bronx, the worst fire in New York City in a quarter of a century. The FDNY responded in 3 minutes. In all, 170 firefighters came to the scene that day, enduring deadly flames to rescue residents and put out the blaze. In both instances, these incredible first responders showed immense courage to bring safety and recovery to our fellow New Yorkers. We honor them today, but really, they honor us by being here. We don't always get to thank you guys in person, but we're really grateful for the valor you show each and every day. You represent what is best about our city. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking these great New Yorkers. And now, our featured guest, City Council Speaker Cory Johnson. Cory was born and raised in Massachusetts, but that's okay. That's okay, because you can't choose where you're from. But Cory, you can choose who you root for. And you have a great opportunity here, Mr. Speaker. Renounce the Red Sox on this stage and declare yourself for the Yankees or the Mets. We don't care. Either way, in this town, you will be trading up. Baseball aside, Cory is a story of personal grit and civic leadership. Cory realized the strength of his voice as a high school linebacker when at the age of 16, he bravely came out to his football team, and that takes guts. This ability to triumph over adversity helped carry him from Massachusetts to New York, first as a civil rights advocate, then as a community board chair, then as a council member, and now as the Speaker of the New York City Council. Cory's track record is very strong. In 4 years on the council, he introduced 61 bills on everything from public health to criminal justice reform to LGBTQ and women's rights to education. 33 have been enacted into law, and that's a lot. We count ourselves lucky that you found your home in New York here, Mr. Speaker. Congratulations on this new role. We look forward to hearing about your vision for our city and the City Council, and we at ABNY especially look forward to working with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm ABNY welcome to the newly elected City Council Speaker, Cory Johnson.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I, again, want to thank the first responders who are with us here today for their bravery. Too often, we take these folks for granted, but they're always there when we need them, so we give them another big round of applause for their service to our great city. I also want to acknowledge that we are joined this morning by a former Speaker of the City Council, the first Speaker of the City Council, Peter Vallone Sr., who I want to thank as well. Mr. Speaker, wave. And I want to thank all of the men and women who got up at the crack of dawn this morning to come in today to work at this breakfast and to work at this hotel. They are hardworking New Yorkers, each one of whom has a unique story, and I want to acknowledge their hard work. So if we could thank and give a round of applause to the workers who made this breakfast possible today. And it is an honor to be here today in front of so many of my esteemed colleagues, friends, and fellow New Yorkers to address the Association for a Better New York. I can't help but imagine what Lew Rudin would think if he were with us today. I believe that he would be in awe of the continued success of an organization that he founded. And I know he'd be incredibly proud of his son Bill, who's doing an Instagram story right now about his late great dad. Thank you, Bill, for your strong leadership and for the stewardship of ABNY over these many years. You can't do Rebney and ABNY, you had to pick, but I'm sure you'll be back at some point. I wanna, again, thank Chair Rubenstein for that kind introduction. Let's give a very warm round of applause to Steven Rubenstein for stepping up in this important role and position. Steven, we are both in new jobs. We have been chosen to lead two vital New York institutions, ABNY and the New York City Council. I was elected on January 3rd, so you have 2 days on me. Slight seniority, but I think you are off to a fantastic start. You have selected the progressive city council speaker for your first ABNY Power Breakfast. It was a bold choice. There are folks on both sides who might balk because progressivism and business aren't always considered a natural fit. But that's New York. We are a city of contrasts. We are the city of James Baldwin and Fiorello LaGuardia, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and John Jacob Astor, Jane Jacobs and Robert Moses, Shirley Chisholm and David Rockefeller. We come from different places, and as Steven said, some of us even come from Boston. We don't always see eye to eye, but despite our differences, there is no reason we can't work to make our city even better. We've done it before. In the 1970s, we faced a fiscal crisis that almost brought this city down. And in 1971, when Lew Rudin gathered a group of business leaders for the first ABNY breakfast, it was because the city was on the brink of disaster. And they knew they had to do something about it. The city was eroding before their very eyes. New York was headed towards bankruptcy. Crime and drugs and arson and poverty were rampant. The theaters of the Great White Way, just down the block, were replaced by peep shows. And places like Verde Square took on names like Needle Park. Our subways, one of the true wonders of the modern world, became filthy, unreliable, and dangerous. We were in dire straits. But then, men and women from the worlds of business, labor, and government came together, leveraging their expertise and influence to save New York City. That was ABNY. And since then, ABNY has become an indispensable resource in times of need. When Dick Ravitch, who was with us this morning, where's Dick? Thank you, Dick. Let's give Dick a big round of applause. He's a good storyteller. When Dick Ravitch took on the monumental task of saving the subways, he turned to the business community, and they answered, lobbying Albany for new revenue streams and paving the way for a revitalized subway system. And we were attacked by terrorists, and the towers fell on September 11th, 2001. Some said Lower Manhattan would never recover. The business community stepped up, and businesses returned downtown and thrived. Today, the city has bounced back from the worst global recession since the 1930s, after the economic collapse and meltdown in 2008 and 2009. Last year, we had a record number of jobs, 4.4 million. Since the bottom of that recession in 2009, the city has gained 700,000 jobs, a 19% increase. Construction is booming, right, John? And on top of that, crime hasn't been this low since the 1950s. But amidst all of these positive indicators, our city is still facing some very serious challenges. Housing costs have soared. Our city is becoming nearly unaffordable for anyone without a six-figure salary. An astounding 44% of New Yorkers are living at or below the poverty line. That is almost half of New Yorkers. 1 in 2 people, when you walk down the streets, are living at or below the poverty line. Let that sink in for a moment. And it's hard to escape poverty without a good job. But while there are new jobs, there aren't enough full-time jobs, and many pay wages that are far too low. In fact, the Robin Hood Foundation found that almost half of New Yorkers under 65 are underemployed, working fewer hours than they need to support themselves and their families. That is 1.6 million people in our city who are underemployed. That is more than the entire population of the city of Philadelphia. So New Yorkers, many of whom must work 2 or 3 jobs 7 days a week, and they still can't provide enough for themselves and for their families to make ends meet. And these just aren't numbers to me. My mom, Ann, who is the love of my life, raised my sister and me under difficult circumstances. She was my lunch lady at school. She cleaned houses on nights and weekends, oftentimes bringing me because we couldn't afford a sitter. And I was lucky. There were 12 units of public housing in the town that I grew up in, and we were lucky enough, fortunate enough, blessed enough to live in one of those 12 units. That was a major reason for my family to have stability and to have a shot at working towards a middle-class life. So I know that the social safety net works. It lifts up families, and it's got me to where I am today. I am a progressive. That is no secret. My politics are probably to the left of most of the people in this room. But here's how I see it. Being progressive does not and should not mean you're anti-business or anti-growth. And being in business, real estate, or finance does not mean that you oppose a strong social safety net. This is not a zero-sum game. We all need a strong economy, a vibrant private sector to pay good, high-paying jobs, to provide good, high-paying jobs, a strong and solid tax base to finance essential programs and services, an environment that supports entrepreneurs and encourages innovation. But a strong economy is built on more than just finances. We need good public schools and public colleges, clean air and clean water, social programs that prevent poverty and homelessness, a great public hospital system, and access to affordable housing. And I firmly believe, I really believe this, that if we truly work together, all of us, that we can achieve a truly inclusive economy. But we need to do more than just talk about it. I am here as the next speaker to get things done. And let's start with some of the basics. Starting with affordable housing. 1/3 of renters in New York City pay at least half of their household income in rent. This is driving families out of New York City or into homelessness. And when that happens, everyone loses. We need to dramatically increase the amount of truly affordable housing that we're building in New York City. To their credit, the de Blasio administration has made this a top priority. But we can and must do better. We need to cut the red tape and get development moving for the folks who need it the most. We must preserve and maintain the affordable housing stock that we have. And that's why next month, the City Council will extend rent protections for over 1 million apartments by renewing rent stabilization and rent control. And next year, Albany needs to not only renew our rent laws, but remove loopholes that are causing us to lose thousands of affordable apartments every year. But this isn't the whole story. Income inequality remains a systemic problem. Today in our city, poverty is increasingly manifesting itself as homelessness. A record number of New Yorkers are now homeless, and the crisis shows no signs of abating. Every night, last night, and the night before, and tonight, over 60,000 people will sleep in our shelter system. 60,000. 23,000 of whom are children. They navigate their lives, going to work, getting to school, trying to keep appointments, all without a permanent home and a roof over their heads. 1 in every 10 public school students was homeless at some point during the last school year. And the most successful model for ending chronic homelessness is supportive housing, which pairs affordable housing with on-site social services for people with mental health and substance abuse issues. The city and state both have plans to create tens of thousands of units of supportive housing over the next 15 years, but it is taking way too long. We need these units now. Let's work together to ensure that we build and maintain a sufficient amount of affordable housing, including homes for our most vulnerable populations. But sometimes an affordable home is not enough. All New Yorkers deserve access to a robust social safety net. By supporting an inclusive, dynamic economy, by fighting together for funding at all levels of government, we can uplift everyone. Anti-hunger initiatives are a core component of the social safety net. There are far too many people who don't know where their next meal is literally coming from. In New York City, 1.64 million people rely on SNAP benefits to meet their basic nutritional needs. 1.64 million people. And while SNAP is crucial in our fight against hunger, families can often not stretch their benefits to the end of the month. So they must turn to our city's network of nearly 1,000 food pantries and soup kitchens to fill the gap. And the Trump administration wants to make devastating cuts to this life-saving program. His tax bill provides benefits to those at the very top at the expense of the neediest. The federal government should be a partner in finding solutions to homelessness and solutions to the hunger crisis that too many New Yorkers face. They should not be exacerbating it. I need you all to support this fight for basic fairness. We know that our city only works when we all succeed, no matter if you are poor or if you are wealthy. So for us to achieve those goals, our collective goals as New Yorkers, let's create a fair and inclusive economy. One that will support the social safety net, one that will support good jobs that pay living wages and benefits, and that ones that offer enough affordable housing so that families can live and thrive in New York City. And I recognize that this is not a simple notion. There are headwinds. Perhaps one of the most critical barriers to our growth and to our own prosperity is our city's infrastructure. We cannot achieve 22nd century growth by relying on 20th century infrastructure. If we're going to support our neighborhoods, grow and attract businesses, and maintain a strong workforce, we need to focus on upgrading infrastructure. Not just transit, but schools and parks and community spaces and public housing. New York City is doing its part. We are doing our part. We have a $68 billion 4-year capital plan. That is a lot of money. But we as a city have a lot of needs. So we have to make sure that we are spending every dollar wisely and effectively. And that's why this city council created the new subcommittee on the capital budget, to show our commitment to the city's infrastructure needs, to promote transparency, and to ensure that projects are moving forward in an efficient manner. City funding of capital projects like the extension of the 7 line helped make Hudson Yards the success that I know it is today, which is in my district. Funding capital projects creates good jobs and it strengthens communities, like the $91 million for PS11 in Long Island City. I see Jimmy Van Bramer here. $40 million for a new pavilion and improvements to Orchard Beach Park in the Bronx, and $28 million for a new emergency room at Richmond University Medical Center on Staten Island. We must continue to make these type of investments for our long-term growth. And on the federal level, as you all know, things are not looking great. Instead of the $1 trillion infrastructure plan this president promised us, we are facing the prospect of massive, massive cuts to infrastructure funding that our city currently receives. Making matters worse, the Trump administration has basically walked away from the Gateway Tunnel project, perhaps the most crucial infrastructure project in the nation. But dealing with the federal government isn't easy these days, so let's move on to something that actually is: fixing the subways. It is the greatest infrastructure challenge that we face today as a city. The subway is the lifeblood of our economy, and our failure to address this crisis could literally be our undoing. I take the subway to City Hall just about every day. I took it here today. Took the A train from 14th Street to 42nd and walked up here. And most days take the subway from 14th and 7th down to Park Place. It takes me, 12 minutes if the trains are working. Like most New Yorkers, I carry my Metro card, though it doesn't look like one because it's not yellow. It's the purple. The MTA is trying to get money by advertising on Metro cards. I'm lucky that my commute is only a few stops away. But I got to tell you that the good days are becoming few and far between. Nearly 6 million New Yorkers take the subway each and every day. They're going to work, to a doctor's appointment, or to school. And they need to be there on time. Almost every day, all of us who ride the subway endure dangerously packed train stations, inaudible announcements, phantom sick passengers, and train traffic ahead. But the system has now truly reached its breaking point, and this shouldn't come as a surprise. The subway signals we use today were installed when FDR was president. We have to create our own parts now because they aren't manufactured anymore. The inside of a signal station looks about as modern as Geppetto's workshop. And at the pace we're going, it will take 50 years to replace the MTA's obsolete signal system. We must take the necessary measures to get the subway system into a state of good repair, and we should not have to wait 50 years to do it. We are better than that. We need a fully functioning long-term plan to modernize our transit system, and we need it now. Money going to the MTA must be spent efficiently, with clear timelines and appropriate oversight. We need new, smart, sustainable revenue streams. And one piece of that puzzle is congestion pricing. We need congestion pricing this year, this legislative session. My district, which includes Manhattan's West Side, from Canal Street all the way to Columbus Circle, is clogged with traffic on a near daily basis. And we can reduce congestion and raise badly needed funds at the same time. And that money must be dedicated to our city's transit system. Ultimately, we need to look beyond saving our current system and towards building a system for the next century. We shouldn't stop believing that a better way is possible. During the Great Depression, we built the Empire State Building in 1 year. Please don't tell me that in 2018, we can't modernize our subway lines, because I am here to get things done, but I can't do it alone. I need your help. We need to convince the state legislature that congestion pricing is the right thing to do, that fully funding the MTA is the right thing to do. We need to convince Washington that building the Gateway Tunnel is a national imperative. We may not always agree, with our partners in Albany and Washington, but we must always be willing to work with them to get things done. And that's who I am. Someone who wants to get things done. I came to New York, as Steven said, at the age of 19, with 2 bags, knowing 2 people. And from the moment I arrived, I knew I belonged. I felt an immediate connection to this great city that we love. I was able to find a cheap place to live on a futon in someone's kitchen in Chelsea at 20th Street and 8th Avenue, crossing the old Big Cup. And I arrived here on a wing and on a prayer and on a dream, and I was able to make it somehow. 4 years ago, I took office with one simple goal: to be the next city council speaker. I'm just kidding. Kind of. No, I really am kidding. It was about 2 years ago. 2.5. No, I really took office to be speaker and to get things done. No, to get things done is why I took office. Seriously. To use the power of public office to spur change. That is why I ran for city council. To use the power of public office to spur change and to fight for my incredible neighborhoods in my district on the west side, and to fight for my constituents, and to fight for those communities that I love. And it's a promise that I have done my best to deliver on as a member of the City Council. And it's a promise that I'm going to continue to try to live up to as your speaker, by working harder, by thinking smarter, and by working with all of my colleagues to tackle the toughest challenges head on, even and especially when they aren't popular. Because we know that when working together, we can do more. We must think outside the box, unrestrained by the politics of yesterday and the way that we used to get things done. The world is moving far too quickly for us to be mired in petty political squabbles and bickering. We have to work together to get things done. Polarization is no substitute for policy, and playing political games will doom us before we even get off the ground. The founders of ABNY knew that. Lew Rudin knew that. They worked across ideological lines to advocate for one simple goal: a better New York City. So whatever that means to you, whether you're a business owner, a nurse or a firefighter, or a 19-year-old just arriving here for the first time, trying to start a new life, it's a theme that resonates with all of us. Now, I said it at the beginning of the speech, and it's important to say again, I'm a progressive. My politics, again, are probably to the left of many people, not all, but a lot of folks in this room. And I want you to know that I come here today with an open hand, not a fist. I come here today not to villainize or vilify or score cheap political points. I come here today to work together. We will not always agree. I know that. I know there will be times when we disagree with each other. Individual bills, individual projects, we're not going to agree. But I am here to tell you that I'll always be honest with you. I will always be straightforward with you. And I will always be a willing partner as we pursue our collective goals. I don't buy into the paradigm that you need to neatly and in a tidy way fit into a particular box. You can care about a robust social safety net. You can care about reducing poverty in New York City, while at the same time working with the men and women in this room who do so much. So many of you could probably easily pack up tomorrow and move to Florida. If you wanted to. You could. You don't. Because you love New York City. You care about New York City. You want to see New York City succeed. That is what we share. Whether you've been successful and done a good job in your business and crafted some good real estate deals and started a small business or a large business, you made New York City your home and you decided to stay here because you love this city and you want to see it succeed. Progressives feel that way, moderates feel that way, conservatives feel that way. People in the business community feel that way, people who live in public housing feel that way. Everyone wants to see our city succeed. And so I come here today wanting to work with all of you, wanting to call upon all of you to help me achieve these goals. Because again, in those big moments that our city faced, in the 1970s, during the fiscal crisis, in the 1980s, during the crack epidemic, when the towers came down on September 11th, when the global recession hit in 2009, government didn't fix it all alone. Government worked with business. Government worked with real estate. Government worked with civic leaders and outside leaders to get things done. And I come here in that spirit. I come here to tell you that I recognize the value in this room. I recognize the talent in this room. I recognize the smarts and experience in this room. I'm 35 years old. I was born in 1982. I don't have all the answers. I know that. But the people in this room have some of those answers. And to get things done in the city, with Albany, with Washington, we in city government, in municipal government, need to recognize that. Need to recognize that there are other people that have answers beyond us. And so I want to thank you in advance for your partnership. I want to thank you for your advocacy. I want to thank you to your incredible, inordinate number of contributions to our great city, to the people of this city. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you to ensure the success of New York City. Thank you all very much, and go Patriots.
Thank you, Speaker. That was terrific. It's our pleasure to have you here. He's graciously agreed to take some questions. So we have a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Jessica?
Given the importance of the public hospital system in the city, both in terms of employment, but obviously the millions that it serves, I was curious to hear your thoughts on the future of HHC.
Thank you. I'm very excited about the new president of HHC, who has come in from Los Angeles County, where he was able to turn around a struggling municipal hospital system there and optimizing some of their space and services, expanding ambulatory care, things that HHC needs to do as well. I want to thank Stan Bresnoff for his incredible service to our city and taking a job that was a hard job, and Stan deserves our thanks for that. It's a complicated issue and problem. We have, of course, 11 public hospitals in the HHC network. We have over 50 clinics that are in communities across the city. And the issue is the Affordable Care Act, when it was passed 7 years ago, 7.5 years ago, was hoping to, of course, get more people insured so there'd be less hospitalization needed. And over a period of time, federal dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, dish money, disproportionate share hospital money, was going to steadily decrease. What happened for some systems is that worked. But in New York City, we have almost 500,000 undocumented folks who don't qualify for any type of health insurance product. And they rely on our public hospital system and on the network of clinics to get most of their care. And so the money from Washington has steadily gone down while the need has continued at a breakneck pace. So the answer here is that HHC needs to modernize. HHC needs to do better. The city, in the last couple of years, the de Blasio administration, I think rightly, gave a significant infusion of a few $100 million to stabilize their finances in the short term, while Stan was able to restructure. First it was Dr. Raju, then it was Stan, now we have Dr. Katz, to restructure the workforce a little bit, to try to hold on to more of patient share so they actually return to the hospitals and it becomes a greater revenue source on a regular basis. The real issue here is that on public housing, on public education, on public hospitals, we're seeing major disinvestment at the federal level, major disinvestment. And so you can tinker around the edges a little bit to try to make things less bad than they could be. You can try to modernize the system to make it more successful, which we are going to do and must do, but we need Chuck Schumer as majority leader. We need the Democrats to take the House back, to help New York City with its finances. We need Joe Crowley in the majority in the House and Jerry Nadler. We need folks that know and care and love New York City to actually be in positions of power to stave off some of the devastating cuts that are being proposed, of course, through the tax bill with the SALT elimination, the low-income tax credit for affordable housing elimination. We need folks to put a check on this administration to ensure that New York City can continue to succeed. And that comes with the public hospital system as well. And Jessica, you're amazing. So thank you for all your help. Thank you for everything that you've done for downtown. Thank you.
Mitchell?
Well, it's complicated. The question was about how the Trump tax bill is going to affect our future as a city. And it's complicated in some ways. 32% of New Yorkers last year claimed SALT deductions. And the cap will not only increase their federal taxes, but will increase effectively their state and city taxes, and this is obviously going to hurt New York City taxpayers. I think 1.6 million New Yorkers claimed significant SALT deductions, and the total deductibility ended up being something like $36 billion, a significant amount of money. So we have a little time, and the reason why we have a little bit of time is because some of the highest earners who are capped out at $10,000 because of the Susan Collins amendment that she put forward in the US Senate to at least make it, again, less bad. Some of those folks, I think, are probably not going to flee the city immediately. They're not going to go to Florida. None of you are going to Florida. You're all staying here. We're not allowing it. We're canceling the JetBlue flights to Palm Beach. And we love JetBlue, but they can't fly to Florida anymore. So we have a little bit of time, and I think what the governor has been attempting to do, which is to move some of the deductions that New Yorkers were able to get through SALT to other things, whether it's entities like unincorporated businesses or furthering payroll deductions. Those are ways that we can hopefully make up for this in some way. But again, I don't want to beat a dead horse or sound like a broken record. Until we get some sanity in the Capitol to protect New York City, to protect the metropolitan region, to invest in infrastructure, to do more to invest in our economy here, to attract businesses, we're going to be in trouble. So the state legislature is looking at a series of options. Majority Leader Flanagan said that he was open to working with the governor on looking at the payroll mobility tax, the payroll income tax, the PIT, the PMI, to unincorporated businesses, to try to tinker with this a little bit. I think it's smart of the governor to try to move things in that direction. We are not going to know the full effect for some time, but we need to be nimble, we need to be thoughtful, and we need to ensure that we do not lose folks here in New York City that are contributing to our tax base and that are providing tax revenue to support all the essential programs that I talked about in my speech.
William?
Hey, William.
And I was wondering if you could give them any direction on how you or the city council are going to handle the impending budget cuts.
So the top corporate tax rate in the tax bill, I believe, was reduced from 35% to 21%. And the top personal tax rate was reduced from 39.5% to 37%. And so how this affects nonprofit organizations who are taking charitable contributions, social service organizations who are getting contracts from the city and state. We need to right-size our contracts to actually make sure that they make sense for providers who are wanting to do this type of work. So the city's already done that in some way. I mean, in the adopted budget this year, we included $10 million, which is a very, of course, tiny amount of money in an $86 billion budget. We included $10 million on what we called model budgets for senior centers to kind of look at coming up with budgets that actually work and are slightly more flexible towards these organizations. Again, it's a work in progress, but so much of the healthcare delivery outside of the public hospital system and folks that are insured are done by nonprofit FQHCs who provide those services. So much of the work that's done, I see George McDonald here and a lot of other great folks here that do a lot of work that the city can't do, works that the BIDs do, the business improvement districts do. They do work that the city can't do. And we need to ensure that they feel supported and that, again, we are being agile in how we respond to this brave new world or sad new world that we are facing. And so it's a work in progress. We'll keep learning. If you have any, again, I meant it, if you have any suggestions on what we should be doing, the leaders in this room, I would love to hear from you and figure out how we can continue to support those great groups and organizations.
I'm going to ask one last quick question. 5 out of the 7 most undercounted counties in the country for the census were in New York. And we have another one coming up. And the Trump administration doesn't seem to be laying out in a way that will benefit or accurately count our city, but it's unclear. What can we do?
So thank you, Stephen. It's one of the biggest issues that we are going to face over the next few years because, as you all know, the count determines our federal dollars. The count determines how much state money we get. The city council is going to create a task force on the census to actually work with all of you and nonprofit organizations and social service groups that can help us get an accurate count. One of the individuals that the president has turned to that's been rumored to be the next head of the census is a guy named Thomas Brunel, who is a partisan ideologue, who is a supposed professor, who's talked about the good part of partisanship in redistricting and in counting. And so it's hard in New York City, harder than most other places, because you can't go in big swaths of the city, door to door, and count every person at a single family home at someone's front door. You have large buildings, you have high rises, you have Mitchell-Lamas, you have public housing. So it's much harder to get an accurate count, but the council is going to create a task force to look at this work. I am sure the mayor is going to look at this. I am sure the governor is going to look at this. I'm sure the borough presidents are going to look at this. And I'm sure our members of Congress who do not want to lose an additional seat in the next round of reapportionment are going to play a major role in this as well. So every leader in elected government at the city, state, and federal levels, as well as the business community, the nonprofit community, social service organizations, civic leaders, anyone who can help us get an accurate count, anyone who can partner with the census teams that are going to come to New York City to get that count, we need to ensure that they're supported and we get accurate count. I mean, the city could literally lose billions of dollars if we do not get an accurate count, which will exacerbate, again, all of the issues that we've talked about here today. The public hospital system, security money as it relates to anti-terrorism efforts, all of the things that we in this room care about will be affected by not having an accurate census count. So I'm fully committed to it. I can't overpromise. I mean, I don't know how much the council can do, but I think it's important to create this committee to show the importance of it and to work across government to get results.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, thank you for coming here today. We're grateful. We look forward to seeing everybody at the next breakfast.
Thank you.